Hello. I wanted to make a little guide for the guild on CG, the Corrupted Gauntlet, which is Hunlif, who you can fight at the end of the Song of the Elves quest for lots and lots of goodies, including Crystal Armor Seeds and the Elucidus Enhanced Weapon Seed. This guy right here, which is currently worth 134 mil, it should go down a little bit, but honestly not that much. And the reason that you want the enhanced weapon seed, if you're not just selling it, is for the Bofa, the Bow of Ferdinand, which is an extremely, extremely good bow that you can use for most bosses in the game, and then it's also your easy, quick way to get into the Infernal without having to get a twisted bow. So the Corrupted Gauntlet is located in Prifdanis, which is this area right here, the end of the Song of the Elves place. I just set my respawn point here, and then whenever I want to get here, I just use Ring of Returning, because I find the other ways to get here very annoying. There is like a teleport crystal to get here, but I don't like recharging it, so I just set my respawn point here, and then, you know, if you're a main or an Iron Man, getting a Ring of Returning is pretty simple, so that's what I like to do. We talked about the requirements being the end of the Song of the Elves. Song of the Elves requires pretty much base 70 stats, and that's kind of what you want your combats to be. I would not do Corrupted Gauntlet with anything less than 75 range in magic and 75 to 80 hit points. It's going to be pretty annoying and pretty hard with anything below that. So the way that Corrupted Gauntlet differs from other bosses in the game is that you can go in completely naked. As you see, me and this person are both doing CG right now. Pretty much everybody's doing CG right now, and we're naked. We don't have anything in our inventory. The reason for this is everything that you need in the Gauntlet, you get from the Gauntlet. So you get fish, you get Engiol potions, which is prayer and run energy. You craft your weapons, and you craft your armor. So we're going to run in, and then I'm going to show you a little bit of the basics. You could start with the regular Gauntlet. I started with Corrupted because I love pain, and then went back and did a couple of the regular Gauntlets later. But I think, you know, starting with CG is probably the best place to go for now. The difference is that you have less time, and Hunlif is harder. He attacks faster, he has more defense, and he has more HP. And he hits harder too. So we're gonna jump right in, and then I'll kind of go over everything while we're here. So there's our boy. There's Hunlif, right? That's the singing bowl. This is where you make everything. It's not gonna let me look at the things that I can make right now, which is kind of annoying. There's our range, and there's our water pump. I'll explain all of that. So the easy strategy when you first get into the Gauntlet is to kind of go in a bracket shape around the room. I'll show you what that looks like. So we're going to go here. We have some fishing spots. Again, I'll explain all of this. Boink. So the entirety of the place is 5 by 5, I think, outside of Hunlif's room. So this is the bracket shape that I was talking about. Now there's 3 resources that we want to collect, and we have to collect a certain amount of them to make a certain tier of armor, from tier 1 to tier 3. Basic, attuned, and corrupted. And typically before, we were always shooting for T2 armor, which was the attuned armor, which means that you needed 7 of each resource, 7 of the 3 resources to create. Now, with the changes, because everything is stackable, it's viable to get T3 armor. I wouldn't make it your main focus, but if you get lucky, or you can even craft 1 or 2 pieces of it. It makes you more accurate, it increases your defenses, and it gives you more prayer bonus. So it just makes the whole thing way easier. So the 3 resources in Corrupted Gauntlet are wood, which is called friend roots, which you chop with an axe. Looks like that. And then we have ore, corrupted mine deposit, which is this guy right here. And then we have the fuzzies. I don't see any fuzzies here, so we're gonna look for some, and then we'll go over real quick. We do not want to see that guy yet. That's one of the demi bosses. I'll talk about him in a little bit. That's another demi boss. This would actually be a great one just to run through, but I'd rather explain everything first because everything's kind of right in front of us. None of the fuzzies yet. Where are they at? There's a fuzzy. So that's the last of the resources. So these 3 resources are how we make our armor. Now, how we make the weapons. The first little guy that you see, the basic monsters, are going to drop a weapon frame. And we use a weapon frame and corrupted shards, which you get from all activities in the corrupted gauntlet, to make ourselves a weapon. And we're aiming to get 2 perfect weapons, which is the bow and the staff, because again, we want to use magic and ranged for this. You can use the halberd melee. It's harder. So I would just learn on using the staff and the bow. Now these are the things that we can make. Well, we're focused on the most absolute important thing is for us to get T3 weapons. So to get T3 weapons, we need 3 things. We need a weapon frame to start each weapon. So I can make a staff here. Boink. Boom, I got a staff. Now to upgrade this, all I would need is shards. But to get to the T3 weapons, we have to kill demi-bosses. This is one of those demi-bosses right here. The dragon drops the orb for the staff. The dark beast drops the string for the bow. There's also a bear, which I'm sure we'll see when I do the actual first run. He drops the spike. If we encounter the bear, we usually kill it anyway, because you can take this pestle and mortar and grind it up and get shards for it, which is nice. So the name of the game, I'm about to walk out and start this first run, is to upgrade our armor as far as we can. We shoot for T2, and if we can get T3, that's great. To upgrade both of our weapons, and obviously we need prayer too. And we need some food as well, which I'll talk about here in a second. So to get prayer, we find ourselves a green root. Looks like this. Boink. We pick that, and then we're going to make a vial. Blink. And we can fill that vial with water at a couple of places. We can do it at this fishing spot to save us some time, or we can just go right here and fill it. You can just click on this and it automatically fills. Then we use the leaf on the vial, and then we grind up 10 of these bad boys. We use that on that. This thing is awesome. If this existed in the real game and it was cheap, we would all be using it. It's prayer and a stamina potion combined into one. Absolutely wonderful. So, again, to get T2 armor, we want 7 of each resource, and to get T3 armor, we want 13. So I'm going to do a run, and I'm going to shoot for 13, and if I don't get it, that's fine. So we're going to go out, and I'll talk a little bit more about everything as we're running through. And again, let me say again, I've done 5 of these today. It's infinitely easier now than it was before. Because that timer, because you could get 7 of each resource in one inventory, and then you would have to go back and craft your armor, and then you'd have to go back and craft your weapons, and you ended up just running out of time if you ever wanted to do T3. So, all right, we're going to start. We're going to go in that bracket pattern that I talked about before. We're going to kill this guy. He's going to give us our weapon frame. And before, you wanted to kill basically every one of these that you saw, or at least the first few, but now there's so much resource collecting, and because everything stacks, and you get so many of these corrupted shards, which again you need to build stuff. You don't really need to worry about that. You can kind of just kill one of them and the demi bosses, and you're pretty much good. I mean, the last one I ended with like 700 shards, which was about 200-300 more than I needed to beat Hunlif. So I'm gonna pick up one of these while we're here. The max you're going to want of the prayer and run restore potions is 3. You'll never need more than that. I'm going to skip this room. Got some wood. And then I have this resource tracker up here. I think it's literally just called the Gauntlet in the in RuneLight. You can get that. It's helpful. I used to just count everything. That was really annoying. And remember, you can drop your tools once you've gotten everything. So I've got 12 of the wood. I need the fuzzies and the ore. Anything? Nope. Okay. So after the bracket, you always want to go back and then craft the staff first. The staff has the highest max hit and the best accuracy. And then I like to upgrade it once as well. So I'm going to upgrade it. While we're here, I'll create 3 of these. I might as well fill them. Now we're going to go demi-boss hunting. So demi-bosses always exist in these 3 outer things, perfectly adjacent to Hunleth. That was an accident, didn't equip my staff. And you can just safe spot the bear. And again, we're not looking for the bear, but he can drop stuff that's very useful to us. He can drop the herb leaves, he can drop more of these crystals, and then if we don't end up using the halberd, we can crush his spike with this pestle and mortar. So that's great. Look at that. And we'll need one of those weapon frames anyway for the bow. So they usually exist in these 3 outer ones. And then if they don't, I think they updated it to where they can be in the corners now. So we're going to check. While we're here, we're going to get more ore, more fuzzy, more wood. We need 1 more wood, then we can drop the axe. Boom. Goodbye. More fuzzy. More ore. Now I could make T3, T2 armor with the resources that I have. So if we get lucky and we can get everything, then we're happy. That's gonna happen. Sometimes you open a door and either the dark beast or the dragon really fucks you up. It does happen. So we're looking for the dark beast. We want that bowstring. And I usually save getting the fish for the end. Just makes it easier. There should be one right here. Let's see. Yep, the bear again. Okay, so if you see the same demi-boss that you saw before, obviously we didn't see the Dark Beast, you're guaranteed to get the 1 weapon component that you didn't get. So again, we have the orb, we have the spike, which means this guy's going to drop the bowstring no matter what. Which is great. And I have another ore right there. We'll look around to see if we have a fuzzy, and if we don't, we'll just stick with T2 armor on this one. Let's see, do we get fuzzy? And we have this thing here too, which is a corrupted teleport crystal that just immediately boots us back. If you see that you're falling behind or you get bad RNG on resources in that initial bracket shape, you can always just craft another one of these, so you can not waste time and get back to the crafting area easier. I don't see fuzzies anywhere. I'm only going to open maybe 1 or 2 more of these. There's 1. We would need 2 more though. Real quick, we'll look. There we go. Okay, we got lucky. Alright, 13. Alright, we're going to teleport back. crush this. Make our weapons and our armor real quick. Then we gotta get fish. That's perfected, basic, attune, perfected. Alright, CG is bugged right now. I'll talk about that in a little bit because I don't want to waste time. Let's get our fish. I can talk about it while we're getting fish. So it seems like this is the correct amount of resources, but it seems like you need 5 of each to craft the armor. But the problem is that you don't. Because once you get that 5, you can finally you can finally upgrade to T3. However, it doesn't use all of your resources. So I think that's a bug. I'm going to report it as a bug after this. And I usually like to start my run back to cook all these fish right around 35-40 seconds. So I'm going to finish this real quick, and then we'll run back and cook these just so we have time. And I make my inventory look exactly the same every single time. So I keep my alternative weapon here, and then my 3 potions right here. Let's cook these fish. This is the range. They cook really fast. And as you can see, he's praying mage right now, which means when we go in there, we have to... Okay, so the first couple times I tried to do this, I died, because I have never tried talking and explaining what I'm doing while fighting a boss, and that sucks. That's terrible. So we're not going to do that. I just recorded it, and I'll just do a voiceover. So, when you first enter Hunlef's room, he is going to attack you with ranged, and he's going to pray against something. He can pray against mage, magic, melee. It doesn't matter. Right now, he's praying against ranged, so we're going to equip our staff. We're going to turn on our super boosty prayer, and we're going to start attacking him. And again, no matter what, when you walk in this room, he's going to be praying ranged. Or sorry, he's going to be attacking with ranged. So pray ranged. Now, Hunlef has a pretty common mechanic where he switches his attack style after a certain number of attacks. In this case, it's 4. So every 4 attacks, he's going to switch attack styles. There he goes. I switch to range as soon as he does it. Every 7 attacks that you do to him, he prays against you. He's got a few more special things. When he's attacking with mage, he has a chance, I think it's 1 in 4, to do a special attack that's pink or purple, and it turns off your prayers. So you just have to remember that it's going to do that, and then there's also a lot of audio cues in this fight in particular. When I first started out, I would just count 1, 2, 3, 4 his attacks, and then I would switch my prayers accordingly. Now you can kind of just feel it as a vibe. Same thing with the 7 of your attacks. He can also summon tornadoes, like he does right there. He lifts up and then stomps on the ground. You can skip over these if they're 2 ticks away from you. I get it like 70% of the time, and it's actually way easier just to try to attempt to skip over them than it is to constantly run around the room. Because the thing about Hunlef is, even if you're praying correctly, in tier 2 armor he can still do 11, 12 damage to you through prayer. So, you know, it's kind of a race against time to not run out of supplies. But, you know, the new changes make it so this T3 armor makes it a little better. I think his max hit against you with T3 armor is only a 9, so that part is nice. You also notice the shit on the ground, the yellow glowing tiles. Those gain intensity and speed at 66 and 33% health. So at 33% in health, he's enraged basically, and the shape of them changes, and the size and the amount of damage that they do increases. So it gets a little bit hectic. As you can see, we're doing pretty okay here on supplies, so that's nice. Yeah, not too bad. The biggest thing I think is just to remain calm. As long as you have supplies, just remembering to switch your prayers. is the biggest thing. You don't always have to constantly, you know, tick perfect do damage. And then something I do a lot of the time is if I know I'm in a comfortable spot, like he just changed his attack style and I just changed mine, I'll stand in the same spot and I won't eat until after these tornadoes come out, because your APM is going to be the highest when you're, you know, obviously running away from bullshit like this, like you're seeing on screen right now. So it's better just to wait to eat. And again, if you want to do the counting, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is certainly not the most perfect run. Obviously, I was a little shaken by having not died to him in a very long time and then dying twice while I was trying to talk, so. Yeah, see right there, he switched praying against my style, but I could tell he only had to attack one more time for me to switch my prayer, so I just waited. It's no big deal. And then here, I'm, you know, kind of playing with fire a little bit, but he's low health, so I'm just going to kind of go for the kill, and I'm not going to worry about healing up unless he summons tornadoes. Which he summons tornadoes, and then I immediately start eating bullshit. Running in straight lines in this is also a big thing too. Something that I learned, you know, instead of just wildly clicking and diagonally clicking, etc., your character doesn't move in a way that you know, makes a lot of sense. So trying to always run in straight lines, like even if you have to do an L shape or, you know, yeah, just running in straight lines is great. Anyway, we got the kill. We had 1 dose of potion and 1 food left. That's honestly very common. A lot of the time, before these changes, I would get teleported into the room. I had so little time. You know, I was cooking food and stuff. Anyway, once he's dead, you get teleported back out. And then there's the chest right there. Even if you don't kill him, you do get some stuff. But the beauty of this place is the loot is always going to be around 100k. And you don't use any supplies for it, so that part's nice. Obviously, the fastest I ever did was about 10 minutes, so you could really only do 6 of these an hour. So if you were to get no loot, it's only 600k an hour, but like you see here, we got ourselves an armor seat. So just from doing that, spending that 10 minutes there, we got 6.2 mil, plus another, what would that be? 80k. So, yeah. Basically 6.3 mil for 10 minutes of work. And, you know, up here on the right, it says that I've done 180 of these. I've only actually successfully done about 70 of them. So, you know, in 70, I've made almost 30 mil, which is pretty damn good money. Anyway, I'll try to cut this together and make it decent. This is a terrible guide, but I figured having somebody in your guild is, you know, might be nicer than watching like a YouTube video. Okay, bye, I love you.